This is Afroland Stories. Join us as we go deep into Africa's culture and history. Welcome. Today, we look at art along the River Nile, covering geographical regions of Egypt, Nubia, and Ethiopia. What shall we learn? Ancient Egypt. The Great Pyramids. The tombs. Kingdom of Kush. Axum. And of course, early Christian art of Ethiopia and other interesting stories around art. Let's begin. The Nile River, an ancient lifeline coursing through the heart of Africa, has shaped civilizations for millennia. From its origins in the highlands of East Africa, the river splits into two great tributaries, the White Nile and the Blue Nile, before converging and flowing inexorably northward. Over centuries, this mighty river carved paths through deserts and fertile lands, sustaining societies that would leave an indelible mark on history. Its waters nurtured not just crops but cultures, fueling artistic and architectural marvels that still awe the modern world. Let us start with ancient Egypt at number 1. Ancient Egypt was known as Kemet. The land that ancient Egyptians called Kemet, or the Black Land, was named for the rich, dark silt the Nile deposited each year. This fertility was the foundation of Egyptian civilization, and over centuries, its people constructed a legacy of grandeur. Historians divide Kemet's history into three great eras. Old Kingdom, a time of pyramid building and centralized power. Middle Kingdom, an era of artistic and literary refinement. New Kingdom, the height of Egyptian political and military expansion. Each period of unity was followed by an intermediate period marked by internal strife and external pressures. The late period, 712 to 332 BC, brought waves of foreign domination, culminating in Greek conquest. What do we know about the Old Kingdom? This was the dawn of monumental architecture. In the vast desert, where shifting suns whisper secrets of ancient times, rose the first great stone monuments of human civilization. Among them, one structure stood apart, the Step Pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. Built around 2620 BC for King Djoser, also known as Nechereket, this towering masterpiece was not only an architectural marvel but also a declaration of divine authority. The expertise gained from Saqqara paved the way for the most famous tombs of all, known as the Great Pyramids of Giza. They are Khufu's Pyramid, 2551 to 2528 BC, the largest and most ambitious of its kind. Khafra's Pyramid, 2520 to 2494 BC, standing slightly smaller, yet still imposing. And Menkare's Pyramid, 2490 to 2472 BC, the last of the trio, though no less significant. Each of these pyramids was not a solitary entity but a carefully designed complex, with temples, causeways, and smaller pyramids for queens and nobles. Together, they embodied the grandeur of a civilization that sought to etch its power into eternity. For the Middle Kingdom, it was a time for the flourishing of art. While the Old Kingdom expressed power through stone, the Middle Kingdom found its voice in art. Elite tombs became adorned with exquisitely detailed carvings, portraying scenes of daily life with remarkable realism. Human figures were rendered in both idealized and naturalistic styles, capturing the nuances of expression and movement. This was a time when art was not just about glorifying rulers but also about telling the stories of those who lived under their rule. What about the New Kingdom? This was a time of elegance and influence of the empire. The New Kingdom saw Egypt reach the zenith of its influence, extending its grasp beyond its borders, from the depths of Nubia to the fringes of the Mediterranean and West Asia. This era brought military campaigns, grand temples, and luxurious tombs. We highlight the following two artifacts. 1. Nebamun's tomb paintings, which give us a glimpse into the life of a well-to-do scribe. The vibrant frescoes captured leisure, abundance, and religious devotion. The second is the Tutankhamun's tomb. The 1922 discovery of the Boy King's burial chamber revealed a dazzling array of artifacts, each whispering secrets of opulence and sacred ritual. At number 2, we look at Nubia and the Kingdom of Kush. Nubia, stretching from Aswan to the confluence of the White and Blue Nile, was both a neighbor and a rival to Egypt. Over 3 millennia, the two cultures exchanged trade, art, and at times, conquests. But Nubia was not merely a recipient of Egyptian influence, it developed its own unique traditions and innovations. As Egypt's power waned around 1000 BC, the Kingdom of Kush emerged as a force to be reckoned with. Its rulers, seated at Napata and later Meroe, saw themselves as rightful heirs to Egyptian tradition while infusing their culture with indigenous elements. Let us sample 2 artifacts. 1. The pyramids of Napata. These were smaller but steeper than their Egyptian counterparts. Their tombs were adorned with precious offerings of gold and rock crystal. Second, is the Temple of Amun at Gebel Bakol, a sacred site that reinforced the divine legitimacy of Kushite kings. At number 3, we learn about the Kingdom of Axum. It was a powerhouse of trade and faith. As Rome and Persia vied for supremacy, another empire thrived in the Horn of Africa, Axum. From the 1st century AD, it became a vital hub of trade, linking Africa with the Middle East and India. This civilization gave us the Axumite coinage, which was the earliest known coins minted in sub-Saharan Africa. We also learn about the Cathedral of Mary of Zion, a church of profound spiritual significance, once believed to house the Ark of the Covenant. Lastly, let's talk about the early Christian and Islamic art along the Nile. Nubian Christianity. By the 6th century, Nubia embraced Christianity, fostering a culture of striking religious art. Churches, frescoes, and manuscripts flourished, particularly in Mokoria, Nobatia, and Alwa. Here, we find the example of the Cathedral of Faras, with its stunning frescoes depicting biblical figures blessing local bishops. Ethiopian Christian art. Ethiopia's Solomonic dynasty, 13th to 17th centuries, saw religious art reach new heights. Kings such as Zara Yaqub patronized illuminated manuscripts and church paintings. The highlight of this is the series of Lolibela rock-hewn churches, a feat of engineering and devotion. These structures were carved directly into volcanic rock. Islamic Egypt. From the 7th century onward, Egypt transformed into a center of Islamic culture. We give the example of Mamluk metalwork, which were elaborate brass basins, often inscribed with Quranic verses and geometric patterns. This symbolized the refinement of Islamic craftsmanship. From the towering pyramids of Giza to the rock-hewn churches of Lolibela, the lands of the Nile continue to captivate scholars and travelers alike. The river that once shaped ancient empires remains, carrying with it echoes of those who came before, flowing steadfastly toward the horizon. As we share this African art corpus, we express our deepest gratitude to great art historians like Frank Willett, Peter Galek, Dennis Duaden, and Monica Visona, whose works have formed the foundation of this story. On other online sources we also relied. That takes us to the end of our narration today. We don't take your time for granted. Thanks for listening. Keep it here for more stories like this. Kwaheri.